Now, every day, hundreds of millions of searches are carried out on Chinese language web search engines. And to give you an idea of what's trending amongst Chinese net users, here on China Take, we choose a selection of the most popular of those searches. For our first top search today, we check out 163.com for some good news for Macau residents. Macau distributes 4.9 billion to residents. Well, 4.9 billion here is actually 4.9 billion Macau Pataka. That's the currency used in the autonomously governed Chinese territory, and that's equivalent to over 610 million US dollars. Now, the money was distributed to over 630,000 residents in Macau as part of a profit-sharing agreement with those who run the territory's lucrative gaming industry. According to this, permanent and non-permanent residents of Macau receive a kind of dividend from the casinos, the many casinos that operate there. And this year that worked out at around $1,000 per person for the former and $600 or so for the latter. In fact, this is the 10th annual round of these payments, which are distributed by the local government. And if government payouts weren't enough, there's more good news for residents of Macau. Official data showed unemployment hovering at under 2%, a level the local government assures it can maintain for at least the next 7 years. Next, we move to Weibo.com and a phrase that won't go down well with sturdier net users: narrowest sidewalk. Well, according to a report on CRI, China Radio International, a street in the city of Jinan in Shandong province boasts a sidewalk that locals claim is the narrowest in the country. So just how narrow is narrowest? Well, barely 6 inches in this case. The reporter who paid a visit to the location of the offending pathway on Yunshu Street found it impossible for an adult to use it, at least without scraping up and sort of grabbing onto the wall. And as for children and safety, well, there are 2 schools in the area around the street, and students there say they tend not to bother with the sidewalk at all, or at most walk with 1 foot on the sidewalk and the other on the road. But while Jinan may have held the record, CRI also highlighted other dimensionally challenged sidewalks around the country. One of these is between an overpass and a railway in Qingdao, also in Shandong province, and it measures only 15 inches wide. And according to the CRI report, this may now be the country's tightest sidewalk squeeze because following the broadcast, the Jinan local authorities widened their contender to a portly 25 inches. Finally, at people.com, we have little yellow ducks adrift on Huangpu. And just what are the little yellow ducks doing afloat Shanghai's Huangpu River? Well, it was part of a promotional event aimed at raising money and awareness of the Special Olympics. That's the 4-yearly international sports meet for athletes with intellectual disabilities. Now, the event was co-organised by Special Olympics International and Special Olympics Shanghai. In fact, the city hosted the Special Olympics back in 2007 and is the base for China's Special Olympic sports here. Now, this recent promotional event involved the release of 11,000 yellow rubber ducks, which then raced, if you like, over a 1,000-foot section of the Huangpu River. The ducks had previously been sold to Shanghai residents, and each one was marked with its owner's details. The first 6 ducks to float across the finish line won cash prizes. The winner took about 20 minutes to complete the course and earned its owner the not unsubstantial sum of 100,000 yuan. That's around 16,000 US dollars. The event itself raised $12,000, and for those worried about the environmental impact of thousands of rubber ducks floating in a river, fear not. City authorities drew on their experience of dealing with thousands of floating dead pigs earlier this year to collect every last duck and send them off for recycling. Next up, we asked people on the streets of Beijing what they know about the US government shutdown.